my name is Nick Kunze and I'm an account manager from the London Stock Exchange Group, and today we are having conversations with our clients. Nick, can you please introduce yourself and your role in the market?
So, hi, Bongani. I'm Nick Kunze and I'm a portfolio manager at Sanlam Private Wealth in Johannesburg.
Thank you very much, Nick. Nick, please, can you please just give us a brief history on Sanlam as a heritage life company and how the wealth business complements the whole group?
All right, so I can't give you a brief history. I can try to keep it as short as possible. The original foundations of Sanlam, as we know it, is about 104, 105 years old. I think it was 1918, I think, if memory serves me correctly. So it's over a century old. We just had our centenary. Then from there, it's morphed into a Pan-African global sort of conglomerate. And last time I checked, we just ticked the box and had over R1 trillion under management. So it's gone from a tiny little insurance business, and I believe started out in the Western Cape insuring farmers to a global behemoth that it is now. So it's quite a story. Great.
I know that now you have exposure all over Africa and you also have the UK business. Do you mind just sort of, telling us what's Sanlam's investment philosophy around growth and how do they choose markets that they want to expand in?
So it's certainly the last 25 years that the largest Sanlam group and the Sanlam investment group has certainly sort of started to gain a little bit of traction. So it was the late 90s, sort of mid 90s that they moved into Europe, specifically into the United Kingdom, as their first sort of European offering. And also it was the mid 90s as well that they started to expand in Africa through their sort of footprint in Namibia, and then went into sub-Saharan Africa and all the way up now into, as we know, into North Africa. So that was sort of laid the foundations to it. And on my side, I'm on the Sanlam Private Wealth side, so I'm on the private, separate to the insurance side, we're on the private wealth business. That really started gaining traction, formed in 1999, so almost coming up to a quarter of a century, 25 years. So yeah, it seems like a long time, but in the scheme of things, it's quite short in Sanlam's life. But that's specifically the last 25, 30 years is where we've really, I think, sort of competed with the big boys out there.
I see. It seems like it's a very matured business at this point and it's growing quite well. And throughout the life of Sanlam, especially private wealth, right, there's been a number of strategic and milestone acquisitions. Do you mind just elaborating their journey in terms of acquisition and growth through acquisition and how they've just become a dominant player in the market?
If I think of when did Sanlam really start, I guess, punching above its weight and competing on the global stage, I would have to say certainly the deal with African Rainbow and Mr. Motsepi and his team and his group that certainly elevated them into competing with, certainly now it's the largest predominantly black-owned BE business in the world, certainly within South Africa. And we're not far behind, there's one other competitor I'm not going to mention, but we're not far behind them. Those are the two big players. And I think also late 2018, I think it went through 2019, the deal with the Moroccan-based Saham. That was, I think, a game changer too. It's still to this day, it's over $1 billion transaction. That also, I think, certainly catapulted them into a global player. So those two stand out for me.
And how is the very big milestone deal that you guys did with ABSA Asset Managers? How is that coming along, and how do you think that's going to change the game going forward?
Yeah, so that was concluded end of last year. I think we got the Competition Tribunal approval. I think it's been in the works for over a year now. I'm not privy to too much of the small print, but what I can tell is that the iteration has happened. The asset management arm has moved across. I think it certainly gave, I think it complements us very well in that a lot of the ETFs, a lot of the sort of passive investing, which they had on their side, have integrated with our side. We own obviously Satrex, a few of the passive investing side as well. So that migration worked well. And also the asset management arm on the institutional side, I believe certainly complements us more on the private wealth side. So overall, it definitely, I hate using that word synergies, but it certainly, I think all of these integrations that have happened quite smoothly, I think really benefit. And that last particular deal that we've just done now puts us in that 1 trillion club, which I think is really a big milestone.
So, Nick, as the largest black-owned asset manager in the land, what does it mean for your clients, and how does that put you in the front foot compared to your competitors?
So I think overall the economies of scale make a big difference. So to have a balance sheet of our scale, as I said, I'm not quite sure the time frame of when the viewers are going to see this, but the last couple of weeks you've had Signature Bank going under, we've had Silicon Valley Bank going under, we've had Credit Suisse, who I always aspired to work for one of these Swiss banks, is no longer. Now being a forced merger with UBS, or taken over by UBS, however way you want to look at it. So it just shows you that you know, having liquidity, having a big balance sheet is certainly a comfort for clients. I can tell you right now that there were a few queries when that happened, asking about what's the liquidity, what's the balance sheet like, what's your credit rating like on Sanlam size. That goes a long way. And then brand recognition. You know, creating wealth is a long-term affair, and most people will tell you that. You don't. I mean, whether you're on a trading front, an investment front, wherever you are, a lot of people tell you that making that $1 million is easy. It's quick. It's simple. It's keeping it is the difficult side. So that side of investing is long-term gain. And I mean, sort of lying back on our history and our laurels of over 100 years of investing, it carries its weight. So all of those things together make for a very compelling offering for our clients here in South Africa and abroad.
I do agree, and I do appreciate you taking the time to tell us about your business, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, Bongani. Thank you for your time.